Industry Insider is only available at Promo Corner, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Each Monday, they discuss, dissect, and debate a single issue impacting the world of promotional marketing from every industry perspective. Now, it's time for Promo Corner's Industry Insider.
Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by three other lovely folks. But this incredible broadcast that you're tuning into is brought to you by our good friends over at TechWeld. And look, when you're thinking about promotional items, stellar customer service, and made in the USA products and business solutions, think TechWeld. TechWeld is an award-winning promotional product supplier, having received the Distributor Choice Award in the sunglass category and the SAGNY Supplier of the Year Award as well. Check them out at techweld.com and find the customer service that you deserve and the products that you need. Think TechWeld. I'm sitting here with my third cold of the year. Thanks, kids. I wish they could keep their hands out of their mouths at daycare, but certainly hand sanitizer could certainly help that. And look, due to coronavirus and just the other nasty crap that's out there going around right now, hand sanitizer is definitely still recommended. And in a time of uncertainty, knowledge that products are FDA compliant is key as well. And they've got a lot of FDA compliant products over at TechWeld also. So go check them out. Remember to think TechWeld for your promotional product needs. TechWeld is a leading supplier in promotional products with a huge inventory, made in the USA items available to help distributors grow their bottom line today. Visit TechWeld, TechWeld.com, and check them out. Check out the drinkware, the sanitizers. They've got kits as well. And tell them the Industry Insider sent you. Why don't we say hi to Stephen McFadden? How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing awesome. I am not cold, seems like a lot of the rest of the country is, so that's nice. Sorry, Tommy.
Stephen, I have to I actually have to point something out because I've never seen the side of your headphones before, and I got to salute you for using a promotional item.
Oh yeah, I got my Rhapsodies. Yeah,
very nice. All right, Meg Erber, how are you doing today?
Well, my internet's still going, so far so good. We have a new router back there, but other than that, I started a new jiu-jitsu gym. It is. It looks like a spaceship, but my body is so sore. We were doing single leg takedowns last night, and just on my right side. So my whole right side is it's hard to walk, sit down, move, jump.
You gotta tell BJ to stop beating you up.
Can I comment on that, Meg? So I just started working out again on Sunday, and I have basically almost fallen down the stairs every day since, and I'm miserable to be around right now. So that's my life. I'm hoping to get better.
We were gonna do that what is it, challenge, and you guys were both no, and I'm like, come on guys, let's do that Biggest Loser challenge. And then now you're working out and don't even want to compete against me.
I didn't know there was a Biggest. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll have competition.
You have fun with that. I'm good. But on that note, though, my wife, she's been hiking each week, and she took a hiatus actually for several weeks over the winter, but she just went back again 2 weeks ago or something. And it was funny watching her gimp down the stairs. But anyhow, Tommy Lewis, our special guest today with Halo Branded Solutions. How are you doing today, sir?
Fantastic. About 25, 26 degrees here in frozen Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shock. I know that's sort of what Stephen was talking about or alluding to. Meg and I up in the Northeast, we're experiencing 65, 70 degree weather, and you're down in Texas freezing to death. It's just a weird time. So, well, Tommy, it is customary for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minute introduction, a 3 to 4 minute time frame to introduce yourself, maybe how you got started in the promotional products industry and what you've been up to since. So take it away, sir.
You bet. So I'm approaching 25 years in the industry. I've been with Halo now for 6 years in May. Started out as a bag carrying sales rep in the industry. Had a couple of major accounts that I won right away as I got into the space, and have been, I guess, with a total of 4 companies during my tenure in the industry. Each one advancing in capabilities, resources, et cetera. And my gig here at Halo is I'm Vice President of Enterprise Accounts and Program Sales. which basically means I have the opportunity to work on many of our large opportunities in pursuit, development, growth, and account penetration. Started out Texas boy, grew up in South Texas, was in school, got an opportunity for the Navy to pay for school. Got recruited into what is referenced as the nuclear Navy. Ended up in a training program they had for about 19 months, which was nuclear reactor theory, and then transitioned through mechanics, and then ended up with a lead role in water chemistry and environmental responsibilities. Did pretty well in school, ended up taking a training responsibility. So I taught at a Navy nuclear facility in Connecticut for about 3 years after I got done with school. Processed a lot of students. We had folks come in and spend a lot of time with us learning how to, after they've gotten done with about 14, 15 months of academic effort, they transition into a practical application to be able to actually run a nuclear plant with their specific responsibilities out to sea. And in the entirety of the Navy's nuclear program, going back to the 50s, there has never been a radiological event on any Navy nuclear reactor. So it is a rather impressive program focused on perfection.
Hey, Tommy,
fun.
Just as a quick aside, my dad was a nuke tech on the USS Louisville and was in Connecticut.
Really?
So I was like, I wonder if you guys know each other.
We all know each other. It's like 2 degrees of separation here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yep. Yeah. It's probably the friend of a friend program, Stephen.
Yep.
We probably do know some folks. I actually did know. Did your dad get out as a Master Chief?
I don't remember. I know that. Yeah, there's some folks that went to California. I think they went further into it. He was in 9 or 10 years, I believe.
That's not Master Chief yet. Yeah,
No.
It wouldn't be. No, it's like a second class maybe, or first maybe, depending on the rate. Well, nuke, right? So yeah, he's probably a first class. He may be a chief then, maybe.
We'll make a connection after.
That was
pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a very nice relationship with the Master Chief McFadden when I was in. So yeah, you never know. But it is that world is a really small world. But to this point, military is a small fraternity sorority environment, and it's kind of it's a bit like. Go ahead.
I said that's true. It really is.
Yeah, and it's a bit like family. You'll see them battle and have all kinds of comments about one another, and positive and negative, beat each other up pretty good, and then. But anybody from the outside says one cross word, and all of a sudden it's a very, very tight knit group. But it was a wonderful place for me to get started. Transitioned after that to a nuclear sub out in California, USS Kamehameha. Ended up getting hurt. Spent a year in the hospital. Had quite a few surgeries on my knees, trying to get them restored back to full service duty, and they couldn't do it. So I ended up transitioning out. And this was part of, the conversation Meg and I were having, but it was a remarkable time, and got married in 98. And my wife actually was one of the people that was heavily influencing my decision, was probably the decision maker as we made the final approach into the promotional world. So she saw a huge value in this market as I was looking my next career move. So it's a bit of a flyby, Jeff. I don't know if I answered your question well.
I think that's perfect. It's all about the introduction and getting to know the guest. So it's an awesome story, and I think it's like you guys said, 2 degrees of separation. I think it's really cool that there may potentially be some close bonds there, but. We are here to talk today about, just converting resources into success. I know you've done a couple panels or a couple, education sessions at Expo, and then also direct to you as well, right, Tommy?
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So Yeah, why don't we just get into that? I mean, obviously, I think we're all going to have or come from different sort of viewpoints or perspectives on that. But you would certainly come from the military background. Meg, you would be coming from military background as well as being a woman in the industry. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and take it away, Tommy, as far as like what you talked about maybe at Expo, and that'll give us a brief introduction.
You bet. So we had the opportunity at Expo to hold a panel on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was a remarkable conversation around how do we become a more inclusive group, and how do we start to tear down the barriers of even having fruitful conversations. And we had a wonderful representation from multiple demographics on the panel, supplier, distributor. We had a representative from PPAI involved in the process as well. And it was a really good conversation, but the evolution of our industry, there's you came into it really two ways. You either fell into it on accident, that would be me, or you were born into it. And I haven't really ever met anybody who specifically came to this industry on purpose. Like I've never met a soul.
Did we? Because we asked that to every single guest, and that's why Jeff was laughing, because we say you either fell into it or you were born into it. But have we ever had a guest that was like, "I'm gonna go to school to be in the promotional products industry"? Have we had that? Have we had it? No.
I can't think of one person that had on me that said that. Well, there was
what about Geiger? Didn't David? Yeah. I mean, David Geiger didn't necessarily go to school to be in the industry, but he did go to school to be a lawyer.
Law.
Yeah. He was totally born into it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't go to school to necessarily be in the industry. I'm just saying.
No, he's a lawyer. He's like a smarty pants, but no,
that's the closest one I can think about.
The only ones I can think of are ones that went into the decoration side.
True.
So people like that, like they knew they wanted to do that. And then I think everyone winds up seeing, oh, I'm also in the promo industry.
Yeah.
Like it just, I guess I did fall into this, like whether I wanted to or not.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tommy. Go ahead.
No, you're spot on. I mean, and that lack of intentional effort makes diversity in our space, in my opinion, a lot harder to accomplish. We don't, we're the, there's different names for our group, but advertising is included in some of them. Yet I was having a conversation with one of the deans at TCU in Fort Worth, and his reference to our industry was, when I asked him specifically, was 1 hour of 1 3-hour course in 1 4-year marketing degree. 1 hour conversation during 1 3-hour course. And so when you don't have an intentional path into our space, then you've got to get a lot more creative with how do you specifically recruit into our industry folks from different backgrounds and different cultures and different ethnicities. And the part that I see that as we were chatting through it, it's really going to have to come down to even an understanding of compensation, because most of the salespeople in our industry today still are straight commission. Right. And so when you're looking at building a plan, you're going to have to challenge everything from comp models all the way through on how do you change the demographic of our world. And it's a fruitful conversation to say the least, because it does require a lot of different personalities and a lot of different skill sets in order to expand our industry to the next level.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned before we jumped on the podcast was like, it's the unadvertised advertising industry, and I like the way that you said that so much, because I mean, it really is like nobody really knows about this industry, and we talk about it all the time. And that's why we love to do that 3 to 4 minute introduction to get everybody's sort of backstory. But it really is something that it's very difficult to explain to somebody. Like when I tried to explain to people how I sell hats for a living, they thought I worked at Lids or something. Like they have no idea.
You don't work at Lids?
Stephen, we'll talk later.
Okay. Can I get a discount?
Yes. Instead of a $30 personalized cap, I'll do one for you for $25, Mike. How about that?
What a deal.
What a deal. Sold.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's always interesting seeing, where people come from, but I know it's a problem that I think we all know we face and we haven't quite figured out how to do yet. And that's to get into the curriculum in school and to really educate people about the industry, or at least that's like the ultimate goal, right? Because I mean, it's such a large industry. I mean, we're 25, almost $26 billion at one point, prior to COVID. And, people just don't understand we're a chapter in a advertising and marketing textbook. And I think this industry deserves a lot more than that. But if we can ever figure out how to do that, that would be hugely beneficial. But in the meantime, I think there's certainly some minor stepping stones that we can take to get to that point. And that's sort of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've spent some of my time doing over the last couple of years is focusing on how to give back into the world. I've had a great career so far, not done, got a lot to do yet, but had a great career, had a really fortunate life overall. And between military and this industry and school and all of the other things, it's added up to what I would consider a remarkable success in my own eyes, which is the one that really matters, right? And so when I looked at how do I really put time back in, when you get out of the military, right? And this can equate to college as well. But when you get out of the military, you're leaving this really safe little womb, right? For folks that are not in the military, you think of explosives, firearms, destruction, mayhem, a lot of violence, etc. At least many people do. But at the end of the day, it's about the safest place you can imagine. You have no concerns of security when you're in your living environment. You have no thoughts about benefits like healthcare, dental, vision, vaccinations. Pick a thing. It's all automatic. And there's a plan of the day that is issued every single day. You don't even have to choose your clothing. It is directed for you all day.
Lined up
day,
down to the buttons. Yep, everything. Your hair,
absolutely
everything.
Yep, no choices. And so it frees your mind up to be able to do so many other things, right? And when you get ready to get out, my last knee surgery, my doctor came in. She was awesome. She came in and I was in a small hospital room painted in the appropriate governmental seafoam green, and no TV, no phone in the room, pre-cell phones. And her quote exit statement was, "You're out. We cannot repair you." And that was the end of my military tenure. Yeah, a little rough. I was on a Friday, had 3 days to dawdle around in my own thoughts, which is a safe place to be, right? Trapped in your own mentality. And, you're sitting here and you're playing out the table. And man, I had a career. I was not going anywhere. I knew exactly what I was going to be doing 14 years from the day before. Like I had no doubts what my plan was. And as I started to get out process, the one thing I had to my benefit, I picked up the phone and called my submarine commander and asked, I let him know, I'm like, "Hey, Captain, I'm out. They're not going to fix me. They're not going to let me stay in. What do I do?" And he said, "Really simple. Hire a resume writer." He goes, "That's the first step." He goes, "Your vocabulary, your education, everything that we've been developing in you for the last 6 years doesn't equate conversationally to the civilian world." And so hire a really good resume writer. And unless you think that the cost is too much, you're not hiring a good enough person. Like you need it to really cost a lot of money so that you get the best. And I was in San Francisco area at the time. So I hired a resume writer, and this lady interviewed me for 3 days, converting and worked on converting my time in the military to the civilian world, and helped me with, to borrow from Navy's nuke world, key phrases or keywords and tricky phrases, right? Trying to make you understand that the time you spent in was all leadership minded. It was all executions. It was tactics. It was strategy. It was all terms that get used in the civilian world. We just had a different set of terms. And so we went through that exercise. The last day was actually a little role play on the interview process, on learning to speak with adjectives and adverbs. because those were not popular in the military during really business-oriented conversations. So we spent some time. She may have taken me too far, maybe a little too chatty now, but we went through this process, and I applied for 5 jobs, got 5 jobs, 5 job offers. And the next time when I was ready to transition from that first sales job, what ended me in this industry, I applied to 5 companies again, and I got 5 job offers. And it was one of those things where they coached you, or this person coached me on the next thing. And so to circle back around to my volunteer time I'm putting in, it's how do you help folks get out? Because you're moving, when you get out at first, you are an angry elf. I mean, you are ticked off all the time. You'll be standing in a tavern. Military people do tend to find those in the evenings, sometimes in the afternoon, but you're standing in a tavern and some person will bump into you. Nothing, just casually bump into you, and it's like you drop the hockey gloves and it's game on. And it takes a while, and what I figured out was you move from this remarkably structured world into a remarkably unstructured environment. Freedom of choice was not really a thing in the military, and all of a sudden you've got all these decisions to make. And you go accept a job offer, and you show up, and they're like, "There's your desk, clean it off. We'll get to you later this week." And like, that's your onboarding. That's not the military way. And so there's this whole anxiety, anger, frustration, and I was fortunate. I had some really good coaches, like my submarine commander and others, that helped me make the transition. But the average person getting out of the military, they don't have that. And so on that DEI panel that you referenced earlier in Vegas, military is a group that has to be addressed. Disabled veterans are, yet again, because they're not getting out by choice most of the time, they're getting out as, not to say you're no longer welcome, but if you don't get to keep your job anymore, you're no longer welcome. Like, there's this whole process of you're perfect, you're 10 foot tall, you're bulletproof, to peace, love, see you later. And so there are groups that are out there that are forming to try to help with that transition. And I signed up with a group as a founding member, and have been able to give them a lot of time in the last 90 days because our industry is on fire right now. But the group is designed to help military groups inside of organizations have a voice and be understood, and how to maximize that potential. And so I kind of went around a little bit, but it's a very long process to get from being in the military to being a civilian. And while we think of equity and inclusion with different groups, every group's got their challenge. And how do you hear them, and how do you understand them? And so anyway, that's a little bit of the path I've been on for the last 24 months.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Jeff.
That's all right. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that stood out as you were talking is that translation of skills. I think that without the education of our industry, right, and using what you have already learned and segueing that into this business, well, we don't know what this business is. How are you gonna frame it, right? Like, how do you go apply into the industry? But the way that whole introduction piece that you were talking about of translating your skill set to match using the resume writer is brilliant. And actually it brings up a lot of PTSD reading a lot of resumes. I'm like, sorry, that was a bad term, but but bringing up, looking at resumes of people, and I'm like, you have so many skills. If only that they applied to what we were hiring for, so it's like, so how do you get people to understand what we do or look for the skills that you think would translate, so you can hire the right people and bring more people into the industry. So it's a lot of good points there.
Yeah, I feel like people always just took a chance on me because, I had like a bunch of skills, but nothing was really honed in. I was in the Navy. I was interior communications, which is on an aircraft carrier, guys. It's like actually right outside one of the nuclear power plants. So I had to be qualified and had to have all the stuff that he did. I didn't have all the education that he did, but I was still a little radioactive, But I enjoyed it. I learned so much. It's the, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. When you're 12 hours off, you still have a 4-hour watch, and you go from that to, this normal life. I was blessed. I had people who gave me a chance. But there are so many people who weren't so lucky. I know, Tommy, we've talked so many times, and our conversation's gone for hours. We're talking old Navy stories, but I have 2 questions for you. One, why did you choose the Navy over the other, branches? And B, what was one habit? Because I saw this kind of in a Facebook group last week. What's one habit that you've kept that you learned in boot camp or in the Navy that you still do today?
So we'll start with how did I choose the Navy? Well, I was in class in college, and the recruiters came to school, and they posed a very simple question. Who wants to go to school for free? And that's a very powerful question when you're working a full-time job and paying your own way and everything else. So that helped. But the other thing, my uncle was Navy, my great uncle was Navy, and my uncle gave me some really simple advice. He said, take a look at a map sometime and show me a great piece of real estate that any of the other branches own. All of the Navy bases are waterfront. They've all got a beautiful view. You're not going to end up in like some dastardly place. So, it's just something to keep in mind. Now, he left out some other details that would have weighed in on, long deployment, time away, et cetera. But it was a really good argument to a 19-year-old idiot, right? And frankly, my alignment with the Navy was pretty spot on from day one. And so that was a pretty simple decision on my end. The things that I still do from the military. So one, I still get a haircut every 2 weeks, even though my hair is longer now. I cannot function. I cannot feel right if I don't have a haircut, especially if it's before a big meeting. It's got to be done. Second one, it's a weird little thing. I only shave down. So when you're in boot camp, they teach you never to shave up because it can cause razor burn, which causes a lot of other issues. And so I still only shave down, even though a better shave is going up. Third one, I despise tardiness. Like, it freaks me all the way out. And, it's being on time. So it's one of those things. And in the Zoom world we've been in for the last 20 months, 22 months, 24 months, I guess, here in a week.
Too long.
These calls are all back. Zoom calls go back to back all day long. So I'm late constantly, and it just gets me. I'm like, I've been working to set all my calls at 55 minutes so that I can try to end and be at the next one on time. So those are probably my 3 biggest transitions from the military.
I gotcha. Yeah.
I'm curious now, Meg, do you have any?
I have one, and my family hates it. I get aside from the lateness thing, because it literally gives me anxiety. And with VJ, 99% of the time, and then the kids on top of it, I'm always late. Like, I can never be on time, and it just kills me. But my weird OCD thing is when I make the beds, they all have to have 45-degree angles. I go in the bedrooms and I'm like 45-degree angles. So yes, that I have to. I like a good made bed, but I don't even make my bed. When I make it the first time, it has to have the 45-degree angles. And that's it. So yeah, that's my little thing. It's like, you get up, you can control that. It looks nice. You go about your day, like brushing your teeth, one thing at a time.
Yeah. So Meg, let me ask you.
Oh boy.
No, go ahead, Tommy.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
All right. So Meg, let me ask you then, from your perspective, outside of military, just being able to sort of leverage your resources and turn them into success. Have you been able to use to your, to your belief, from the female aspect within your success?
That's a good question. SAGME actually asked me that when I did an article on me like last year, and I I had more time to prepare for that answer, so I'm going to wing it on this one, but I'm not the person that's going to pull up my woman card. I'm all about, self accountability, working hard. You get what just working hard for everything. And I that's the Navy aspect of it. I mean, like I said, we would work 16 hours a day, and that was like a good day,
Yeah.
So yes, I think I do. Being a veteran, I've definitely used that card 100 times, like 100 more. Like I go to Home Depot, I'm going to get that 10% discount, but it has helped me because people, we've had this conversation on our Veterans Day podcast before. And I know even Stephen was asking like, hey, I want to hire this veteran. I don't know. What do you think? I think that we have a certain set of skills, you know what I'm saying? Like we know a guy, but no, we do have a certain set of skills. We have leadership skills. We have camaraderie skills. Like we know how to adapt and evolve into any type of situation. So I
think you've been able to, utilize it for sure, at least within the industry. I mean, this conversation went a totally different direction than I thought it was going to go. And I'll show you that in just a second, but with just being included and actually, I guess being invited into certain groups like Women's Leadership Conference. And I'm sure you're in,
of course,
different groups with ladies in the industry that gives you, access to different information that I'm sure you're able to utilize and help your success. But personally, I thought this, because when I think, using your resources like military or being woman, being a female or something like that, I instantly think business owner. You get military, veteran owned business, or minority owned, woman owned, something like that. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm glad this conversation kind of went a different direction, because I'm always interested in hearing how else you can sort of take advantage of those resources without necessarily just owning your own business. But do either one of you have anything to say in regards to those things before we sort of wrap things up?
Well, Tommy, I just wanted to say something really quickly. I listened to the panel that Tommy did with some brilliant women and men. But one of the women on there was a very proud, her company's name was like something Pride or whatever. And she was very proud that at first, people, I guess, told her that she should become qualified for LGBTQ, all that good stuff. And she was like, I don't need to. Da, da, da. Then once she did, she wasn't having to knock on so many doors. They were now coming to her. So I feel like it's all about using your resources, play to your strengths. If my strength is being a very proud veteran, then I'm going to be. People are going to see that that's part of my values. And I think that's what it comes down to, your values and your morals and what you believe in. And I think that goes for anybody. You find something that you're passionate about and be passionate about it. Be yourself and be authentic. Being authentic is the number one thing that people see. And I'm like, I don't like to go sell people things. I want to educate. I want to get to know you. I want to be your friend. I don't want to just sell you and take your order. So I think that's where I'm coming from. But Tommy, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. I know you had something there.
Yeah.
Little nugget.
Well, that's Elise with Brand Pride, and she is a remarkable
Brand Pride,
person.
yes.
And we all battle the equity conversation of, do we play a card? Do we take an angle that is going to leverage us to the front of the line? And we never bat an eye to do it with a reference or somebody on the inside that might be able to help you skip a step or two. But there is a resistance and a hesitancy to do some of that. Kathy with Snugs was on the panel, and she referenced, being hesitant about leveraging an opportunity that she was presented at school and with the corporate and going into corporate America. And I think that was the purpose of that DEI panel. Is there are opportunities that are out there, and we have to open our minds to the opportunity as opposed to resenting the grade card. Right. And when we put it out there and we give ourselves the chance to look at something with a pure evaluation of, how do I get myself to this next level? If it's, hey, I know Susie and she's in charge of this decision, I'm going to call Susie and see if she can weigh in on my project, my award, whatever. We don't bat an eye at that. I mean, we do that, and we do it with vigor. But you turn it around and there's this evaluation of, to your point, Jeff, as a veteran and a disabled veteran, there are benefits to owning your own business, this, that, and the other thing. But to me, the conversation really comes back to the relatability when the opportunity presents itself. Yeah, you may get an interview, but you got to be awesome. Like, you got to bring it, and you got to bring it with all the gusto that you have. And the folks that were on that panel, remarkable folks, and they all made their living and created their life without leveraging any specific group that they belong to, but they were able to celebrate who they are and advance in some new and unique ways, probably not differently than they would have succeeded or any different level of success, but a different approach to the way they're able to succeed and celebrate their identity a bit. And for me, as a veteran, I've never used that as an application reference. For years, I didn't put it on my resumes. I mean, for years, didn't include it in conversation, because there used to be a pretty harsh bias against the military in the sales culture. You don't have a creative mind. You are in the box thinker. You are used to being told what to do. And for anybody who's not been in the military, it is very easy to have those very misshapen ideologies in your head. When you are in the military, you are given the scenario of, here's where you are. This is your situation. Make peace with what you have. And if you can think of a nuclear powered submarine being at some depth below the surface, and all the resources you have on board are all you're going to get, and then light the thing on fire. And all of a sudden, you are going to figure out how to put a fire out blindfolded, because you are going to be in a pitch black room. And to qualify submarines, you got to be able to navigate every inch of that submarine, all the oxygen stations and everything, blindfolded, going up and down levels and ladders and everything else. So when you start getting to creative, you really find out who you have when you get a veteran. And if you are not really close with the military world, you have no idea. Take a bunch of folks and drop them in the middle of the desert and tell them to go solve a problem. Oh yeah, and what you have is what's in your backpack. You're gonna get inventive. You're gonna get creative. And you know what? You're gonna get really close with your team, because many minds are way better in almost every instance than one mind. And you take any group of people, throw them in a room, someone will lead that room in a very short period of time. And if there's a military person in that room, if they don't like the people who are trying to take charge, they will take charge, and it will happen in a pretty unique way. So I think that there are leverage opportunities with military. There are leverage opportunity with African American, the LGBTQ world, Hispanic, women. It doesn't matter which group you choose. We're all human, and we all want to succeed. But if we don't really embrace the differences, it is really hard to embrace your own success, right? I mean, it's something that makes us all a better person. So,
if I can piggyback on that just real quick, Jeff, your question kind of jogged a thought in my mind. In the promo world, I feel like there's two levels of purchasers, and our world is kind of split. There's a RFP, RFQ bidding world where there's benefits, obviously, in those proposals where there's actually sections you can mark your company's identification, whether it's veteran owned, WeBank certified, minority owned, and then there's relationship based, right? So there's benefits from both sides. You know, whether you're doing it through the official governmental bidding process channels, or even just having those relationships and being able to relate to people that are similar or have similar experiences. I feel like there could be good use of skills in either one of those that could be beneficial.
Sure.
Yeah, Stephen, to piggyback on that, I will throw out one of the most important steps that any of our diversely owned, frankly, competitors, but our diversely owned suppliers can take is to get certified. And you referenced government spending. It's the whole Fortune 500, Fortune 1000.
Yeah,
they're looking to have conversations and execution inside their shop. Tier 1 spend means they're buying from a diversely classified company, just diversely certified company. Tier 2 means that they're buying from someone who is buying goods from a diversely certified company. Those Tier 2 certifications right now are ringing the bell as loudly as Tier 1 certifications. They're looking for economic impact. And so our suppliers that are in our industry, and I had a conversation with one in in Vegas that launched a really cool new line of products. And I met the owner of the company, and my first question was, are you a certified women-owned business? No. And I'm like, you're really missing the boat here, because there is an opportunity to promote and lead when you have that diversity opportunity. So it's an education, and I don't know that people are slowing down enough to really think about it. And right now we are back in the proverbial high cotton again. Like, business is really good for many, many people in our industry. It's going to be tough to get people to slow down and think about, do I take the time to invest in getting that certification? No matter how much I would like to have it, can I make myself stop and go do it? And I would challenge our suppliers and even the distributors throughout our industry. If you qualify, certify. It's a really, really strong step that you can take. And it also opens the door in some advocacy opportunities within the different chambers of commerce and things like that through the U.S.
Yeah, I would think one of the major issues with that is people not, once it's like, okay, now I got it, now what? And I think that's the step that I think a lot of people maybe get hung up on. Like I know when I worked for the distributor I worked with, we were trying to get on the GSA schedule and all that good stuff, and there's a lot involved with that. And we've heard, there's a lot of people that get it, but then they're not able to turn it into, anything. So I think there's a whole nother level of education beyond just getting the certifications as well. So, but yeah, I mean, Meg, or Steven, do you guys have anything else that you want to sort of add before we get wrapped up so that we can get Tommy to his next Zoom meeting on time?
No,
Yeah,
it was
Tommy,
great.
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, excellent.
Awesome.
If I may share one resource with the group before we break.
Yeah.
There's a group called a Department of Defense service called SkillBridge. And it's a remarkable solution. It's designed for active military that are within 180 days of exit from the military. And it is a paid internship, meaning the government pays for the internship. For you to have this person's staff in your company. There is work to be done to be able to get it done, but in the labor world that we're in right now, in the labor shortage, I would recommend you at least take a look on the website, see what's there, see if you can schedule yourself into it. But you're not getting an intern without skills. You're getting an intern that has life experience. You're getting an intern that has a remarkable amount of training, and you are very highly likely getting somebody that you may not know where to put them in your shop, but you bring them in, they will find a place to be successful in your organization. And it costs you the grand financial sum of zero, but it does cost a little bit of time to work through the process.
What was the name of that again? Just
SkillBridge.
SkillBridge. Okay.
SkillBridge. All right. Very cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome, actually. I mean, I know, excuse me, we've always had really great experience with military veterans. They always tend to work out and be really great employees. That's not to say that that's always the case, but I think the large majority for sure. So that's awesome if you got the opportunity to do that. Awesome. Well, look, hopefully you guys were able to get something from this podcast. I think it was great. A lot of really good information there, and dropping the nuggets. If you stayed there till the end, I think that's a huge one. But look, when you're thinking about promotional items and stellar customer service or made in the USA products and business solutions, you got to think TechWeld. TechWeld's an award-winning promotional product supplier, having received Distributor Choice Award or the Distributor Choice Award in the sunglass category. And they also received the SAGNY Supplier of the Year Award. Check them out at TechWeld. That's TEKWELD.com, and find the customer service you deserve and the products that you need. Think TechWeld. They've got some custom packaging options, which is awesome. At TechWeld, they like to create new every day, with their custom packaging division being a great example of that. And each box takes on a life of its own, and they can work to really meet your custom packaging specifications regarding packaging. So really cool, and something to think about and keep in mind. And they've also got what we talked about, them winning the Sunglass Distributor Choice Award in that category. They've got incredible sunglasses. They're FDA approved. Many SKUs are FDA approved with UVA and UVB protection. So definitely worth checking them out for that for sure. Remember to think TechWeld for your promotional product needs. TechWeld's a leading supplier of promotional products with a huge inventory of made in the USA products available to help distributors grow their bottom line today. Visit techweld.com. That's TEKWELD.com. And check out their drinkware, sanitizer, kit options, and much more. And tell them the Industry Insider sent you. Tommy, really appreciate you joining us today and dropping some knowledge bombs on us, man. Really, really do. It was pretty awesome. And thank you for your service as well. I know there was a couple of people that chimed in the comments to thank you. So really cool. And our industry is better for having you.
For sure.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. It was a pleasure to be on with you today. And for the folks that are out that were listening today, thank you for investing time and expanding your brains, man. That's how we're all going to get better. So cheers to you all.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll take care. We'll see you next week. Tommy, hopefully we didn't make you late for your next one. All right, take care, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.